Okay boys, today we're going to start the programming part of our course. We're going to start by looking at what object-oriented programming is, what it is, what its major concepts are, what its major components are. You can read the learning intentions and success criteria, but basically Python, which we're going to be using shortly, is an object-oriented programming method. Now I will explain to you what you're going to do in this lesson. I'll go through the PowerPoint presentation that I would have given you in class. Then I'll point out the two videos that briefly, I think, and quite simply explain what object-oriented programming is. You have a little bit of research to do. Most of the questions that are asked of you or ask you to find out, you can get the definitions and explanation pretty much from the two videos. However, if you want to do a little bit of research, you can do that. And then at the end there is also a piece of text which has some missing words. Now also, as always, I have a little quiz that you will do at the end of the videos before you start your research. And as you can see here, the links to video 1 and video 2 are down the bottom. Okay, so object-oriented programming. What is it? Well, it's a technique that is revolves around objects rather than procedures, the old-fashioned way where you had data input, processing, data output, the way a computer thinks. As I just said there, last year we did a lot about logical procedures, input, processing, output. That's called a procedural language. When I first learned programming, I used procedural languages. I learned BASIC. You now have Visual Basic, which is an OOP language. The original COBOL, Fortran, they were all procedural languages, which were fine for their time, but they were fairly inefficient. As programming has become more complex, they needed to be a more efficient way to program, and so OOP was developed. Object-oriented programming is a technique structured around objects instead of procedures. So you have like little bricks that you build upon, and they can be reused. As you can see there, objects are at the heart of OOP. They can be arranged into classes, and you will find out about objects, classes, behaviors, methods shortly. So you can go back and look at this. Now, the first video explains to you what OOP is, object-oriented programming, versus procedural programming. It explains the difference and which language belongs to which. You can look at this in your own time. The research you're going to do is you're going to explain what is meant by procedural programming. So just briefly explain that. 3 or 4 sentences would be enough. Then I want you to investigate object-oriented programming. So how does it work? Just explain that briefly. What are some of the popular languages today, and in what fields are they used? Now, you'll find that certain languages are more often used in maybe gaming or web design or whatever it is. So what sort of fields? That's quite easy to find. And then I want you to explain the following terms: class, object, method, property, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Now you might go, oh my goodness me, but don't worry. Some of those were previously explained, but all of those are explained in video 2. And then I want you to write down a short paragraph on why people use object-oriented programming. So this is where you can watch the second video, which is about objects, classes, and methods. And then what I talked to you about when I was introducing it, you have a OneNote page or a Word doc where you're going to put the 8 words that are up the top here: object-oriented programming, abstraction, class, encapsulation, inheritance, method, object, and properties. There are spaces here. I want you to put the correct words in the right spots, and that will be, I will give you the answers to those in our next lesson. So to go back here, the order in which you have to do things, you have to watch the 2 videos about object-oriented programming. Now remember, it's an approach to problem solving where all computations are carried out using objects. You're going to explain what object, class, method, function, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphisms are. They are in the videos. You don't have to write a lot. There will be, as you can see there, a short quiz that I've emailed the link to. You're going to do that before you start your research. And then you're going to do the last of the work, which is filling in the missing words. Video 1, video 2, and then if you finish that and want to start having a bit of a look, go onto this site and you can see what Python programming is. We have a couple more lessons on object-oriented programming, and then we will go on to actually undertaking some Python programming. So again, use the forum to ask questions, boys, and good luck.